Hey everybody. Today we have Mike from Black Hills Harley Davidson with us today. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's too bad you haven't been able to ride lately.
I got out a couple weeks ago, actually, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we went and rode dirt bikes, I think 2 Sundays ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then we did, Christmas was my last ride.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve day ride, yeah.
Nice.
The roads got clean.
So we're going to be talking bikes today. In the Black Hills, we have the biggest rally motorcycle scene.
Right.
One of the best places to ride.
Right.
So, I mean, it just makes sense to have a motorcycle podcast.
Well, I'd say my job and dealership kind of exists because of it. So
Who better to have than Harley? Even if you're not the hugest fan of Harley, they're the icon of motorcycles.
Right.
And it's sad to say, like I'm a metric rider, but Harleys, yeah, if I could afford a new one, I hate working on bikes, so it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, Harley Davidson is kind of where it all started. Obviously, the longest running manufacturer, and a lot changed in the '60s when the metric guys came in, and there's been some competition in and out, and it goes up and down. But Harley's endured, and that's kind of what it's about, and that's how you exist for going on 116, 117 years now. So
That's insane,
yeah,
man. For most of the Harley riders out there, August we have Sturgis Rally.
it's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
What kind of part does Harley Davidson play?
Well, there's kind of two parts. So us as a local dealership, we obviously we're here and we get a lot of vendors and stuff, and then you have the motor company out of Milwaukee, and Harley Davidson Motor Company is who manufactures the bikes and everything, but we're locally owned.
Nice.
I sit in a meeting every week with the owners of Black Hills Harley Davidson, and they're engaged and they're involved and they're in the decision process, and they're not just.
So they actually live here.
They live here.
Okay.
They're everybody's in Rapid City, so we are. I mean, technically a corporation, but we're still just a locally owned business, a large one at that.
I did not know that, and I really thought they lived in Florida, California, or something like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Vail or something crazy, but no, they're local. They're all Rapid City residents, and I want to say all of them. Yeah, all of them. I don't necessarily born or raised in Rapid, but they were all from or like originally
Black Hills
for a long time. It's not like they came in when they bought the dealership in 2000 and were outsiders and just came in for Sturgis. They're actually local community people, and they're highly involved in a lot of community organizations, and I'm proud to work for who I work for.
They ride too, or what?
Yeah.
That just makes me happy right there.
Yeah, no, it's always cool to pull up and see the partners' bikes parked there instead of their cars. So
I think the most popular bike right now, Harley, is the FXs.
Yeah,
everybody's going for the shovel heads, and they're getting bought up a dime a dozen, and they're cheap,
right?
For like $2,500.
The good old, I mean, nothing beats a good old fashioned Dyna, and in my opinion, I know how to work on them. I like to work on them, but I don't like to work on them that much. So you give me a twin cam Dyna, and with the craze right now going on with the hooligans and I mean T-bars and sport fairings and all that stuff, I'm really happy with where the trend is going right now. And we just got back from a show in Louisville last weekend where all the industry parts guys are there, and the performance bagger is where it's at. And 4 or 5 years ago, and we always talk about the big wheel baggers and who can make the biggest front wheel, and 30-inch and 32-inch front wheels, and
yeah, that's getting ridiculous.
And that works good in Daytona, but I'm proud to be from the Black Hills, because that trend never really took off out here very much, because this area is full of riders. Like where we started at is that, and a 30-inch wheel, you can't take up Van Auker Canyon. You're not going to do Needles Highway on a bike that's 15 feet long. So
yeah, that's true, man.
Trend coming back that the riders are here. And the kind of parts and stuff that we sell and are popular here has always been a little weird. And they're like, oh, well, you don't have this going on? It's like, no, because you can't go. You're not going to.
It's not functional.
It's not functional.
Yeah.
You're not going to go on the wildlife loop in Custer State Park and and zig and zag through the Buffalo with the 32-inch wheel, like
Yeah, that's
and the low drags and the really low air suspension that they're scraping frame, and it's like, no, that don't fly out here. Guys want power, they want performance, they want suspension,
Yeah.
they want something that actually handles.
I'm so happy that you brought that up because I have so many buddies that have those, and they're cool. They're functional. They're not that big.
They look cool sitting outside the
Some of
bar,
them,
but
some of them are getting a little like you really can't ride
Right.
like, the needles with that.
you can get, and you do it right, and there's some kits that you get up to like a 21-inch front wheel on any of the
21, yeah.
baggers, and that still works. It still handles. Like we talked about I grew up racing dirt bikes and motocross and stuff, so
So you
I
start-
need mine to handle. So I'm doing brake upgrades and keeping a 19-inch front wheel. So
you start dragging bags though, then it's
yeah,
a problem.
That's a good, and then
Kick out.
it's a good problem. Like obviously everybody. I travel a lot with Vance and Hines, and the guys would always come in, and they're just like, oh, and I scraped my heat shield, and there's like just little scrapes on the bottom of and they're like, I need a new one. I was like, no, you don't. Like, that's a badge of honor. Like, like you're ripping. Go walk down the parking lot and see how many have that scrape on there, and you can find the real riders. So
It's
leave
cool,
it,
man.
let it be.
It's
Yeah.
scary though when you dip down that low and then you hit a peg or something like that.
The
and
first
it kicks
time
out.
when you're not expecting it, it's sketchy,
and it
and
hops on you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's if you're ever working on your own stuff. I'd learned later than I probably should have that said how when you mount the foot peg, they fold up, and they're made to fold up in a direction that if and when you scrape, they don't pogo and stick you out.
Oh yeah.
So, like I said, people that set up their highway pegs or whatever passenger pegs, you remount them, and I see how they fold up. They actually need to fold up backwards.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
Good idea.
To help prevent that, and floorboard designs and how the floorboard mounts, if they're installed properly, they will fold up and pivot up instead of just
That's a
stick right in the ground. Yeah,
that's a hot tip from Mike.
Mechanic tip here from the marketing guy.
Yeah, a lot of just working on your own bike. Like I used to work on my bikes. I'm not a Harley rider, which I thought was
fine.
I thought was perfect to have somebody from Harley Davidson on because there is the majority of riders and Sturgis Rally when you go down there, it's all Harleys.
Yeah,
But I'm a metric guy. I had a what is it, a 79 XS 650.
okay, yeah,
And then now I have a 78 Honda CB 750.
okay,
Chopper.
nice.
Yeah, and it's I'm
both
really excited.
both classic bikes. Those are,
Yeah.
and like I said, I do marketing for the dealership and everything, but and if you're on two wheels, you're a friend of mine, and that is pretty universal throughout our dealership too.
Yeah.
Is that and maybe you can say that with 50% market share that, like I said, if you get on two wheels, eventually you'll end up on a Harley. But I got nothing against anybody on any brand of bike, and like I said, from my background growing up on dirt bikes, and I have my grandpa's 76 Yamaha XS 500C, which was one of the first ones. They only made it for 2 years because it's got a 3-piece head design, and like they just blow head gaskets. So and mine's not leaking yet, so I don't put too many miles on it. But that was cool. I have that. That was my grandpa's first motorcycle he had in the U.S. when he was in Europe, deployed for a while in the 40s, and he had one over there. But then I have his first bike, and it's still mine. And so a couple times a summer, I got to break that thing out and
really cool.
Keep it going and make sure the gas tank's not rusted, closed, and
Oh yeah.
and that stuff. And even I had like I said, I grew up a Yamaha guy. I had a couple old 67, 68 Yamaha, the old twin 2-strokes that were real cool, 175s, and now into the Harley world. And I just got done building my Road King, kind of with the new style, what it is, about a 03 Road King, and do the front end upgrade, do suspension, T-bars on it, working on changing the front end out again. And like I said, I can upgrading it to the new style 49 millimeter front end, and just continually tinkering on it. I was working on it last night actually, because it was just
Nice.
You get home and the girl's out of town. I was like, I'm bored. I go to the garage. What can I do? And it's like, there's always something to work on.
It's getting about time.
Yeah.
To start riding. So I think the most popular bike right now is the Street Glide.
Right.
And if I could afford a new one, I would get the Road King.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them. They just look, they look very dimensional, like the old Cadillac. They just look awesome.
They're just kind of classic.
Yeah, I love it.
And I went with the Road King because I had my eye on between, like, everybody's like, oh, I think when I bought it, I was 29 or 30. It's like, oh, you're a 30-year-old kid. Like, you just need a Dyna, you put T-bars on it and put the tall shocks and do the tank lift and do all that stuff. And it was just like, I've ridden sport bikes and I've gone all this. And it's like, my biggest thing was I wanted saddlebags. And because I'm tired of wearing a backpack when I ride. Mm-hmm. It's just a pain in the butt. So I looked at it and I was like, yeah, Road King for sure. And I'm super happy I went down this road. And the first thing I did, I mean, was being the performance style, you just go on. It's like, what's not necessary on here? And it's like the extra rails and the extra trim and
blinkers, mirrors.
Yeah, it's like how can I make this more efficient? And how can I make it work better? And not that I'm going to ever build a MotoGP bike, but
oh man,
tore it down, did motor work, I got a real smooth running, decent. It's like 10.2 to 1 compression, so it's still pump gas. Still don't really have to worry about pinging if you get a little bit of bad fuel, but
yeah.
Still carbureted, and some T-bars, and upgraded the brakes, and it's just classic. It's just a classic 03 Road King that works really well for me. There's not a lot of bling on it. It's just all blacked out and simple.
That's why I like to ride a metric, is because every time I ride, I see the same bike. But now with Harley Davidsons, the guys they're I don't know, man. They're going next level with building. Like, they're starting to do things.
Yeah.
And I do, like, one of the reasons why I would get a newer bike, and I do highly suggest this for anybody who's listening, like, if you don't like working on a motorcycle, get something new. And you don't want to be on the side of the road. Like, it could be at the end of the driveway if you get lucky, or 8 miles into the Black Hills, and then you're just stuck, and your phone's dead.
I find it funny, a guy that owns late 70s metric bikes doesn't like to work on his stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like metrics because, I know how to work on them. But a Harley, it's a little harder. And, if you're out there, if it's a newer one, you got some pieces to take apart. But, they don't do that. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But, an old one, it could be anything.
Yeah, you get old shovels, old knuckles, and the Evo's got pretty good by then. But
you could have the valves too tight. And then they just won't kick over, won't start, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to call for a trailer. I think motorcycle riding also is very blue collar.
Yeah.
I think that's where the camaraderie between riders actually comes from, even when, like, sport bike riders, chopper riders, Harley riders, anything. It's very blue collar.
And yeah, for sure. And it started, and obviously we have good customers that are, bankers and lawyers and stuff. But when you walk around and you come to the shop on a Saturday and the sun's shining and everybody's meeting up, and like I said, whether they're Harleys or not, and those guys are workers, and they work hard all week to enjoy what they have, and I get along with our customers really well. Yeah. And I say that all the time because I travel to rallies, literally across the country, been to a lot, and the Scottsdale biker is a different type. Mm-hmm. And I like going to those rallies because there's a lot of stuff to look at when you're walking around that lot, because there's a lot of plastic. But you go to Daytona, there's a lot of guys you get. No offense to anybody from New Jersey or New York, but you get a lot of those guys that they put their bike in the trailer and they drive it to the hotel, they unload it from the hotel, and they drive it to the bar, and they turn the lights on, turn the stereo up, and then go in the bar and talk about their bike. And I like this my Sturgis Rally customer is my favorite, and I'm blessed to be able to work with that customer really year round because they're riders, and they know what it's like. They know what it's like to put 200 miles on in a day, and not saying the Sturgis guys don't party and don't go to the bar and drink and don't have loud stereos, but
they sure do.
But they definitely do. But they spend their day riding, and a day here in the Black Hills at the Sturgis Rally is guys. They plan their ride. All right, And everybody's kind of got a ritual, a group of friends. Like, all right, Monday we do Needles Highway. All right, Tuesday we're going to Mount Rushmore, and then the race afterwards or whatever. And so they ride 100 to 200 miles in a day, and then they go party, and then they go to the chip.
They
go see it, and yeah,
they earn their hangover.
Yes, exactly. where I mean, Daytona, the only riding is there's the wildlife loop, and it takes like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So my Sturgis Rally customer is my favorite, besides my year-round, like Rapid City residents, going back to what we were talking about. And I was just like, the people that have been here grew up, whether it was like riding dirt bikes in the hills or out at Farmingdale or all the stuff that I grew up doing, and so many of my friends and people that are metric guys and dirt bike guys, and they're now it's like, hey, I don't need to go fast. I don't need an RC51. I don't need a Hayabusa, and ready to just slow down, and that's kind of where I am, and the Road King is like, I have a fast Road King. Like, I blast the canyon, and I have a grand time doing it, and
I'm glad you know what an RC51 is.
Oh yeah, Like, if we want to talk about anything else, motorcycles.
One of my buddies, he had his RC51 parked downtown Sturgis Rally, and a bunch of older bikers were looking at it and were like, what's that plastic thing? He started it and revved it up for him, and they're like, holy crap, that thing is a V-twin, and it sounds meaner than their Harleys because it has a higher RPM.
Right.
Oh, it was just gnarly. I was like laughing. I was like, dude, do it. Start it. You don't know what an RC51 is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Honda came out with that V-twin.
Yeah, and it works, and that's even how as things develop and riders change and Harley corporate in Milwaukee sees that. I'm real excited for what they have coming in the next year or two.
Yeah, there's a new generation of, like, I'm 38, so the generation between, like, my age group and just, like, the 40s that's the big one that's going to be the whole Sturgis. Every other, like, the 60s and stuff, the people who are 60 is starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's our generation that's coming in, so it's going to change. And, like, here, the thing about being a kid nowadays too is you can't ride like we used to. Like, you have your mini bike and then cruise down the road. Now you can't.
No, and even 15 years ago when I was in high school and I'm a Blackhawk kid, and so when the trails were open, we'd get on a dirt bike and we had a decent. I mean, Sheriff knew who we were. We're a neighborhood group of kids, of course.
Yep.
But gained a good mutual respect for him, and he put it in a high gear, and you go slow, and you don't rip up and down the streets, and he didn't care.
Yeah.
But now he has to. He can't do it differently. So
yeah,
it's a changing of the guard, and if you don't see, like I said, Harley's doing it with some of their new bikes. They have Venture Bike, new Street Fighters, all water cooled Harleys, the stuff that's coming out in the first year, and then other stuff that's happening as far as rally wise goes with what Damon's doing up at the Buffalo Chip. If you haven't seen the Camp Zero stuff, it's all stuff that me and you would want to do, and it's kind of going back to the old school where it's just like, let's just rally, let's rock, let's ride. They get those little Coleman mini bikes, and race them around.
Trail
and we had
bikes, yeah.
No, like the mini, like they got like a Briggs and Stratton 5 horsepower motor on them, and
well, they had those trail bikes too that were just
like almost like old CT70s type of deal.
Yep. Oh man, fat tires on them and just.
They handle like we raced them. We had a show. One of our big parts distributors does a show in end of August in Madison, Wisconsin, and they do it big. And they're a Wisconsin company, so they have a little bit of pull with the city. So they closed the street down right in front of one of the classic dive bars and lined them up. And we had 6 of them in each brand. Line them up. So I was on the team SNS, and we went out. We're racing them around the street and knocking people over. Wheelie contest, burnout. It was just old school, classic fun.
That just sounds like a good time.
Yeah. And I mean, like, same thing as like the handlebar guys made their own custom exhaust out of some handlebars, and it fell off halfway through the deal. So they're just loud, and like somebody's carburetor's falling off. So one guy's riding around, he's got one hand holding the carburetor to the intake, so it kind of runs, but he can't stop. And
90% of the time, that's how I used to ride one of my metrics.
One-handed, yeah,
holding something.
Yeah.
The Valley here. right outside of Rapid City, the Valley, you can still get away with riding. Like mini bikes, dirt bikes, and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys out there who are still like the kids. Just hop on, kick him, and ride.
I know a lot of friends.
In the Valley,
there,
but not in Rapid. Blackhawk,
and I don't
some a little bit, but not as much as it used to be in every neighborhood. It was everywhere. It was like the kid next door. You were friends because he had that, and you were like, he lets me ride.
My best friend is my best friend because of motorcycles. It's fun. Like through elementary school, we had close, similar group of friends, but like he was into like dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, and like I was at the swing set, like trying to talk to the girls, and then it got like middle school and still riding the bus together, and it's like track and like football was okay, but then like riding the bus home from football, and he's just like talking about his new dirt bike, and we got in an argument over dirt bikes, and I was like, no,
Yamaha, Kawasaki.
Yeah, he had a Honda, and it was an XR80, and I think he called it a CR80. But he said, it's a 4-stroke. I was like, no, they don't make a CR80 4-stroke.
Suzuki.
Yeah. And so I had a KX80 at the time. So he's like, oh, I got it. And like little, again, neighborhood dirt hills down by the sewage park that we'd build jumps on pedal bikes. He's like, meet me there. And it was just threw the challenge down and been best friends, lived with him for a while. We'd lived in Illinois for a while together. And
cool, man.
And yeah, it's motorcycles.
Yeah,
one
of the kids I grew up with, we could ride back in the day, and we both had KE 125s. They were old.
Yeah,
like
I was just say that's early 70s.
That's I think it's between like 78 and 80. No,
I don't know the KEs.
I think it had to be 79 was the last year of the KE. Yeah, 80, 81, it came out the KX. But yeah, they were both like the metal tanks.
Yep.
Dirt bikes. And they were mean, though, man. They were really, really mean. It was like 125, so we were 8 years old. Like, they were way too big for us.
Yeah.
But we could hop on them. We could lower the suspension and stuff and just rip.
Yeah.
So it was cool. We had the same one, so we really couldn't complain. Yamaha, Suzuki, stuff like that. But back in the day, man, all the kids, like, you could find a cheap bike and learn how to work on it yourself and build the carb and all that stuff. And now it's pretty hard for that young generation to get into riding.
Right. And if
it's kind of sad.
It's tough. And I said on the motorcycle side of things, the technology of stuff that, like my motocross bike with the fuel injection and I mean the dual chamber suspension, and I know how to work on it now, but looking back to my first 93 YZ125, it's like I didn't know how to change the wheel bearings. So like, because I didn't have anybody to really teach me. It's like my dad was good and taught me a lot of things, but his mechanical ability was
limited.
It was a little limited, and he'll listen to this and hear it, and he'll know like he's not the best at maintenance. So
I had a carburetor on my KE that needed fixing, and I didn't know what was wrong with it. But this guy was sitting at the table at my buddy's dad's campground, and his name was Pappy Hoyle.
Oh,
and yeah, he was sitting there. I had no idea who he was.
Right,
and he was like, my buddy was like, hey, give your carburetor to Pappy and he'll fix it. And he's like, go grab it, go take it off. Let's see how long. Bring your bike over here. Let me see you take it off, though. And then I came over and did it real quick, emptied the float, put it back on, gave it to him, and he was like, thanks for emptying the float so I didn't get full of gas. He's like, wow.
Yeah.
But he fixed it, and it was just a spring tension, and some of the O-rings were shot.
Yeah.
Because it kept bogging down. But yeah, he was like, do you know who I am? Like, no.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. It's not important. See you later. Have fun.
Just a motorcycle dude helping a motorcycle dude.
Yeah, he was really cool, though. He came around quite a bit, so
yeah,
I'm glad I got to meet him.
Yeah, I love that about the motorcycle world, and I take it back to the industry and the people and the companies that have survived some industry inside troubles over the last, like you said, the motorcycle industry was huge, 05, 06, 07, and then 08, and it got just so flooded with all the extra chopper stuff, and it's the companies that have survived are the companies that have enthusiasts employed with them. And
Yeah.
like we just got back from Louisville, and everybody's sitting there talking. Like the performance bagger they got at Moto America at Laguna Seca this summer, they added a bagger class. So you've got, I mean, like the guys at Saddleman and Alloy Art and Fueling. They're building some nasty bikes because they're gonna. I mean, the Laguna Seca, if you know, that's the one with the corkscrew. That's the big.
Yeah.
And they're gonna pile baggers into that. They're gonna put 18 to 20 baggers on the track and race a class. And sponsored by, like I said, Drag Specialties are good partners on the parts distributor, and a lot of good brands are in on it. And it's cool. And those, like all the companies that are kind of participating in that are the ones that are survived because they care about it. We sit there at the bar after the show and we're having a drink and talking about, oh, hey, yeah, I could do this upgrade on my front end, and if you do it this way, then this works, and you get this advantage. And after talking about business all day, we all just go back to talking motorcycles. It's really cool. And I got to remind them that once in a while, like, we still need to sell some parts in order to pay for this racing stuff. Is the only thing that they get a little distracted on. Is like, hey, like if you're building this stuff, put the stuff that you make on the bike, so then me as a dealer, I can sell it.
Yeah.
Because if you're making one-off handcrafted swing arms and unobtainium pipes and all this and stuff, that doesn't do the industry well. So
Yeah, that's why I'm happy that when I called Harley Davidson to get somebody to come in, you were a writer, actually, not just a briefcase, because that's what this podcast is about. It's about being a real person here in the community, and just like also being a writer, not just a briefcase.
Yeah,
so awesome.
And I'm lucky to be in the spot I'm in. And
working and loving what you do.
Yeah, I work for one of the largest Harley dealers in the world.
Yeah,
as a marketing representative, and it goes back to the people that own that and manage it do care about the community, and they're all about it. And anybody that hasn't been around our shop, and you see the exposure, and from hosting the Polar Plunge, I mean, that's not a great sales weekend for us, but it's huge for the community, and we raise, I think 6 figures for the Torch and Special Olympics, and and from Truck Convoy, and
good,
and we work hard and really hard to support the community and give back.
What other kind of things does Black Hills Harley Davidson do for the community?
So,
do you know?
Yeah, there's a lot, honestly. I mean, from
let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and tell everybody what Black Hills Harley Davidson does for the community.
Yeah,
we'll be right back, everybody.
Is recording your podcast difficult? WorkSleeve is a Denver-based production company, and we help brands, people, and businesses share stories through podcasting and audio. We work with B2B and B2C companies such as nonprofits, small business entrepreneurs, radio stations, college universities, restaurants, and so much more. Create a professional quality podcast that connects with your listeners by selecting one of our many services, such as our on-site recording, where we can travel to your location and record the podcast so you can focus on your message. For more information, visit worksleeve.com or call 720-593-9664 for a free consultation. Have an idea for a show? We can create your podcast.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I had to get some coffee. So before we left for the break, we were talking about what Black Hills Harley Davidson does for the community around here. So take it away, Mike.
Yeah. So I'll pick the briefcase back up. But,
I know, right? But yeah, I do want to know, because that's kind of one of my questions, is seeing what they do.
Well, we know how much the community, like I said, a lot of our business is the rally, but we keep our doors and lights open the rest of the year because of a pretty small community and the population that we have here in Rapid City and western South Dakota, and we service, people from Wyoming, North Dakota, and Nebraska, and we appreciate that, and everybody's passionate about it. So one of the biggest things we did, if you heard about the new Strider initiative, All Kids Bike, with the realization of there's less people riding, and going back even farther and looking big picture.
Point that mic towards you a little bit. Like, there you go.
Yeah, a little better.
Oh,
Okay,
way better.
Okay. the All Kids Bike movement is trying to get every kid in America to learn how to ride a bike. And Strider has a lot of stats on how few people, and what we were talking about earlier, the neighborhood kids, and going down to the pile of dirt in somebody's backyard and messing around on pedal bikes, and then that turns into dirt bikes, and then it turns into street bikes, and that's where Harley is. So our company bought 375 bikes and donated them to the Rapid City School District last year. Awesome. And that includes curriculum and training for the PE teachers. So as a part of the PE class, all Rapid City schools now have a section that is riding a bike. And the kits that we bought from Strider is their new, I think it's the 14 or whatever. And so it comes with a normal Strider, and it's just got like in where the crank goes is steps. And so you can start with just like a Strider, but then it also comes with a chain and crank and pedals.
So you can add that on.
So you can add that, and you can start it as a balance bike, and then it turns into a pedal bike.
That's genius, man. Whoever came up with Strider.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Intelligent.
Smart, real passionate people over there. You want to talk about another company of people that's got riders and cares about the sport. Strider's one of them. We're glad to be partners with them. And
where is Strider from anyway?
Rapid City.
It was like
it's here.
It was invented here.
Yeah, he's from Rapid.
My mind.
Yeah, you didn't know? Yeah, no, their headquarters is like as the crow flies, less than a mile away from ours.
Yeah, it's by the Coke plant, right?
Yeah,
I think I worked on some of their concrete a long time ago when I was helping a buddy.
Yeah,
but I didn't know it was invented or like the corporate is. That's insane. That's
he's
awesome.
Here, a Rapid City guy.
Way to go, Strider.
Yeah,
that is so awesome.
And their whole staff, and like I said, I know them. We know them. And we're proud to be kind of the launching point for this all kids bike movement. And now it's growing and it's going across the nation. And Rapid City Schools were the first one. And as it's cool and everybody knows, and we have riders in the community, it comes up, and like Buffalo Chip, I think, did Deadwood. They have a police organization, Sturgis, that did Sturgis. The Honda Riders group did, I think, Box Elder, and everybody's picked it up around this area. So all the kids in kindergarten get to learn how to ride a bike, and at core in the education system. And we're a big proponent of that. Happy to be the launching point.
That's cool, man. That is super awesome. Yeah,
and we work hard. There's a lot of obviously different riding organizations in the Black Hills, different clubs, whether they're for whatever base. Like I said, I mean, Abate does a lot for us at the state, and they've got chapters all across the state, and supporting them in any way they need. So a lot of times they'll have their annual raffle ticket or their fundraiser. It's like, yeah, you can come, you can set up a table, hang out on a Saturday, and all the riders are here, and you sell them a raffle ticket, you fundraise for your organization. It's like we don't charge them vendor space, we don't do any vendor lots for that.
That's awesome.
Groups and customers. We do 2 car shows a year, car motorcycle shows. The Dakota Rods and Classics are good friends of ours. So we have a summer event coming up, and then we have another one in September, and we post all that on our Facebook page and our event calendar on our website. Coming up here in April, we have the Polar Plunge, which is a big weekend for us. I think they raise about $100,000 for Special Olympics. So we show up, we clear out the basement, we clean it, we do whatever we can, picnic tables and all the stuff, and they show up. And
is that where all the bikes are? Like basically,
our back storage is in the basement.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we have some like are used, and then that's where we work on the new Roxors.
Yeah.
And we clear that. I mean, it's quite, I don't know the exact square footage, but it's
pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And then set it up. They set up the pool. Fire department comes out, and the police department, and we give them free range of our parking lot. And that's a big one for Special Olympics. In the fall, we have they do the truck convoys, another one for Special Olympics. It's really cool. The Special Olympic athletes can come up and they can get in a semi-truck and they can ride. They do a loop. They go out on the interstate, and then they go down I-190 to Omaha Street and come back to the dealership. And I don't remember how many semis there were. There's a video on our YouTube channel. Like probably 100, maybe 150 semis.
Wow.
It's a long line. And there's a point where I'm flying the drone, and it's just like, I'm going to run out of battery. This is going to take more than 20, 30 minutes to get these guys in here. And gosh, there's a bunch of stuff I'm forgetting too. And
Well,
from
I'm just glad you guys actually do something for the community around here.
yeah,
I knew you guys did a couple things, but being such a giant corporation, it's good to know that you guys do more than a couple.
right. Yeah, it's not just like this is our one charitable event this year, and it's ongoing, and we have there's always the motorcycle community is good on like poker runs and benefits and poker run fundraisers and whatever it is and rides that we facilitate, and we have the biggest asset that we have is our facility. So sometimes the greatest gift we can give is space and square footage, because come the first week of August, 100 square foot's really expensive on that blacktop, but maybe in June, July, if there's a motorcycle club that wants to, and again, if you're on two wheels, you're a friend of mine, and ours is a dealership. I've met and come across people that's like, oh well, I ride a Yamaha, or I ride a BMW, or I ride this, and it's like, that's fine. Come hang out. Come talk motorcycles.
Yeah, I had on some of the guys from Lowball's Ride.
Okay.
And they had a benefit for a cancer benefit they're raising money for. So they just called me. I threw them on. We did that. Started talking bikes. And Mike Brewster, he said, as long as your knees are in the wind, he's like, that's awesome. And that's true, man. Riding is just, like I said, don't knock it till you try it.
It kills me. We talk about it with some friends that there's life before motorcycles and there's life after, and as I have friends that are stressing about work and stressing about life, and I mean, life sucks. Life's hard.
It is.
I'm lucky
real.
to have a job that I do like and I enjoy, but that doesn't mean that I don't have sleepless nights over it. No. I don't go home and stress, and I take work home, and there's, because it's big and it's important, but same thing, like today, it's just like, it's 50 degrees. It's like I want to bug out of work and go for a ride.
So if he calls in sick,
if boss is listening, I actually
if he calls in sick, he's out riding.
Yeah, no, but it just fixes everything, and it happens to me a couple times a year where it's just like, I'm in a bad mood. I'm just being a butthead, and then like something goes around, and something happens, and I get on the bike, and even if it just rides to the gas station and back, or ride into town, and
it's being a dude, man. Just being a dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need some sort of mental clarity just to hop on a bike and just go for a ride, and it actually really does help.
Yeah,
like, I have a lot of friends that are shitheads, but when they go ride and stuff and they come back, they got the biggest grin, and then they just give each other crap about who just about flew off the shoulder or something like that. I mean, something's gonna happen all the time, but it's a good time, and it is dangerous, but it is well worth it.
It is, and it's dangerous and it's expensive. I mean, it's way easier just to go home and play video games.
Yeah.
But
that's getting expensive too. But motorcycles. I love riding, and I love working on them. But around here during Sturgis time, I don't like to ride.
Right,
it's too congested, and then you do know around a year when it starts being nice out, all the riders who are riders, like they know how to ride. And then you get the people who buy these brand new bikes that come here for just 1 week.
Yeah.
And they ride, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to ride next to somebody.
Yeah.
Riding next to somebody, it's a thing. Like, you have to learn how to ride next to somebody.
Yeah, group riding is huge.
It is. And man, some of these people, they just try and fit right in and try and get right in the middle of you. And it's scary.
It sketches me out, and like I said, the Sturgis rider's my favorite, but there's still every once in a while. After college, I spent some time. I lived in Central Illinois, and again, motorcycling, dirt bikes, all this stuff, and guys with street bikes. And I mean, Central Illinois, it's corn and beans, and they go on their back, and then they talk about how they're hitting the speed limiters on these roads, and they're straight line guys. And it's like, okay, you're good, and you know what intersection you can run through and when you can't, but it's like, that's sketchy. But then sometimes they come out here and they don't realize that 15 mile an hour curve speed recommendation is real.
Yeah.
And I mean,
falling rock.
Yeah, not
Deer.
yeah.
Deer for one, man, and then you get like turkeys and squirrels and raccoons.
Yeah. I just when I was young and dumb, I did the old find the speed limiter on my R1, and about $187, it shuts the computer down, and I'm going. It's just like I'm just staring at the ditch. I was like, "There's going to be a squirrel come out. I'm going to run out, and that's going to be the enemy." Like, and never need to go back. And I've had a few encounters. My dad, he worked at the dealership selling bikes, and he bought. Let's see, it would be in 2001, and he bought a 02 Fat Boy. And it had 88 miles on it. And we're going up Highway 44, just kind of doing break-in miles before it gets to work. And it's dusk, and the deer runs out and goes through it, and we go down. We're very lucky. Is straight set road. We ended right in the middle. I didn't actually have a scratch on me. He tore the ass of his pants out, and but it's locals kind of know to keep an eye out, and that's my biggest thing for newcomers is make sure you're paying attention and listen to the other people you're riding with, and watching. It's when you ride a motorcycle, you have to ride like no one or anything can see you, because they can. Be it cars. I've had a handful of close encounters. In motocross, I've crashed, and I've got plates and scars and knee rebuilds and collarbones and I got a lot of other stories we can talk about. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm the worst rider. But it still wouldn't change it. Like I said, when the weather's changing, I ache and I sit here for an hour and my back will be sore.
You're not supposed to ride with your kickstand down.
Oh, that's what it is? Shit. It's taken this many years for somebody finally to tell me.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that many times.
I've spent a lot of time in the parking lot in the rally, and guys go and it's just like yelling out, kickstand.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that's pogo stick. That's not what you want to do.
Oh man. No, mine was small and short for the excess.
Oh, was it?
Real low.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell, because sometimes the spring wouldn't work right, so it just fall down and I'd have to hold it or something and get some rope, put it on there. But for Sturgis Rally, I'd like to have you guys back before it starts blowing up again.
Yeah.
It gets big.
And it's a whole, like you said, we have
this whole area changes.
We have two businesses that we run, and we have 50 weeks out of the year, and then we have 2
Black
weeks.
Hills Harley Davidson here in Rapid, and then do you guys own the one also in Sturgis?
All 5 locations in the Black Hills are the same ownership group. Yep.
Which 5?
So there's Rapid City, Black Hills Harley Davidson. There's Sturgis Harley Davidson, Deadwood Harley Davidson, which they just bought a new building and remodeled. It's way cool. The new store's been there for about a year on Main Street in Deadwood. Then Hill City Harley Davidson on Main Street. That's only open during the summer. And then we have Badlands Harley Davidson in Wall, just kitty corner from Wall Drug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're Harley calls them AROs. They're authorized retail outlets. So
Yes.
the Black Hills Harley Davidson in Rapid City is the full service dealership. That's where you go if you need service, full line of parts. Motorcycle sales is the only place you're going to find motorcycle sales. We all have it in one. And I guess I don't have to stand here and talk about our inventory and our selection and the options that we have.
Please don't.
Put the briefcase back outside. But it's grown because it's a hub for motorcycling.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, the theme of the show has just been that just being in the wind is what matters, and that I can come in with the Harley logo on my shirt and sit here and talk to you about your Yamaha XS650. I actually know a lot about those, and the CB750s, and I've worked on both actually, and even internally. I
good,
worked
because I got to send those carbs off.
I'm out on carb jobs. I did that for way too many 2 years. I like the keyboard and the cameras more than the wrenches and oil buckets.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Carb tanks.
I think a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
Does Harley Davidson do do they do poker runs or anything like that?
So again, we don't actually put them on because the poker run's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Our funds are raised by selling stuff, and we sell stuff when people ride. So we benefit. Like I said, if you go for rides and wear your tires out. Well, we just happen to sell tires, so like there is maybe ulterior motive, to be completely honest, but we got bills we got to pay too. So we just want more people riding. We want more people in the wind. We want more miles on bikes, and I love when we got customers that come in. They got 3-year-old bike and they got 100,000 miles on it. I'm like, how? Like, what did you do in life that got you to that point? Because I'm jealous. I want to be able to have that much free time.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't ride Harley, but my whole family rides Harleys. My dad is a Harley rider. My cousins, the Contreras down in Texas, they have multiple Harleys and a garage full of Harley stuff.
Yeah.
My other cousins, like all of the ones down in Texas, are Harley, and they ride like up here.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I would not do it. My cousin, she's a girl. She rode up here on an XS or FXR. She rode up here on FXR Harley.
Yeah.
She rode that thing up here. No.
Yeah.
Like I would have gotten like a mile down the road and my arms would have vibrated off. I'd be like, no. She rode all the way up and all the way back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it. For trailering your bike in, I mean, I don't have anything against it because we do get a lot of hail. And if you're going to party, you're probably going to feel like crap. You don't want to ride all the way back.
Right.
What is it? 21 hours or something like that.
Yeah. I got some guys that ride out for Sturgis, some of the vendors and stuff. And it's just like, they're lucky they're shipping displays out. So they ride their bikes home and then they fly home and put the bikes in the trailer with the displays to go home. It's like, that's right. But I couldn't imagine riding 20 hours before coming out and work because we're open 8 to 8. I'm there for 14, 15 hours a day for about 2 weeks straight.
Yeah. That's a tough gig during Sturgis. That's a tough gig.
But it's worth it. And that's all I've ever known. I've worked at that dealership. I've worked every rally since I was 14. So I think I'm going on, whatever the math is, my 17th, 18th rally in a row, just with my feet on that blacktop and in one shape, form, or another. And it's all I know. I love it, and I'm happy because it exposed me, and I've met so many people. And
community of riding.
Yeah,
there's a lot of locals around here too that when Sturgis comes around, they take a break from their job and then they go do their rally job.
Right.
They build bikes. I used to build bikes in my garage for guys who needed help. So I had a guy drop off a V-Rod.
Okay.
I don't know what'll work on that. So I had to do a lot of digging because it needed bars, cables, battery. The rear end was so wrecked that I had to cut the fender off. I had to put new blinkers and a brake light on.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to figure out the wiring. I had to do all that, and I did. But it's made by Porsche, and I was like, "What?" And my mind was blown. So yeah, I figured it out, and then I was like, "That's a last V-Rod."
It's a whole different world, and we've got, like I said, we've got 1 or 2 guys in the basement that know them, and it's like you get the V-Rod because the knowledge is it's not cut and paste. It's not the same as
it's not. I applied to work. Yeah. I applied to be a Harley mechanic. I think this was like 06.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't have any background. Like, I know how to work on bikes, but I didn't have any background, like a previous job.
Yeah.
And I even tried, like, Rice Honda and Power Sports to be a mechanic, and everybody was like, no, where the hell have you worked? Like, do you know how to work on a bike? And I was like, yeah. But, I mean, that doesn't do good enough on paper.
Yeah.
And all my friends, they work in the bike business. They're sales, either at Power Sports or working for Rice Honda or something like that. And one of my friends lied on his application about getting a job at Rice Honda for being a mechanic. I'm not going to say who it is, but
yeah.
But yeah, he got the job, and I was like, "How the hell did you get the job?" And I didn't, dude. I know way more than you. And he's like, "Oh man, I did schooling here," and I'm like, "No, you didn't." I'm like, "No, you didn't." And I hear from other guys because I know the guys there, and they're like, he was changing the oil out of. It wasn't out of the pan. It was out of the can, the oil cooler.
Okay.
And he was like trying to change the oil.
He's draining it from the oil cooler.
Yeah. I was like, what is
thing called the drain plug? Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yeah. And that goes back to like I've worked. I used to travel with Vance and Hines Exhaust is one of the big companies, and and I got in on that, and it was really good. Up until this year, I traveled with them to 4 or 5 rallies a year, installing exhaust, and my running joke was I'd never change the oil on a Harley. It's like I know really good. I'd argue that I've put more Vance and Hines exhaust on in the last 8 years than about anybody. Yeah. And until I bought my Road King just a couple of years ago, it was like I'd never change the oil. Like I literally don't know where the drain plug is. I was like, I know there's one exists.
Yeah.
But I've never done it because like I said up until that point, it's like I rebuilt. I mean, from 2-stroke dirt bike motors to 4-stroke dirt bike motors and been into the cases and transmissions on all of them. And it's like, I'm sure I could figure it out. It's all nuts and bolts.
Yep.
But like everybody would always ask me advice, some mechanic advice as I'm putting exhaust on their Harley. And it's like,
I don't know.
I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you
that's
that
the nice thing about owning a newer Harley too, is you can take it in to get it done. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to screw something up, or you're not going to put it back together right, or the gaskets. There is YouTube to figure things out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you want to put that time in?
If you get a good service manual, like I said, the Harley service manuals, that's how I learned. And that's why when I bought my Road King, I bought one that was a rally trade with a pile of miles, and it needed a motor. So I took it all the way down to the frame, rebuilt the motor, and with some help and advice from the guys in the basement to the service manual, I figured it out and I learned it, and now I know that one pretty well. But again, it's carbureted, and I didn't get into the fuel injection and that kind of stuff. And even the new ones are CAN bus electronics. I don't know if you know anything about CAN bus electronics, but the new Harleys, when you say you turn the key on and you press the start button, it's not a copper wire from that button that closes the circuit on the starter that activates the starter. It's actually like a fiber optic cable. It's actually more like a data line. And that button sends a signal to the BCM that sends a signal to the ECM that sends a signal to the starter to initiate the starter. So you do a handlebar job on the new ones, you can't just take the old wire snippers and and you can't. It's not just standard copper wire. It is still a copper wire. It's like a phone line wire, but you actually have to use the proper extensions to replace the wires, and we see that a lot with the new technology, and it's cool because like diagnostic, everything kind of talks to each other with the laptop and all that. Like I appreciate technology because I'm young, but
it's hard getting used to.
It's hard to get used, and like I said, as these bikes get older and the garage mechanics,
10 years later, it's going to be the norm. It's
going to be tough.
All that, it's going to be norm.
Yeah,
and then those things that we grew up riding are going to be ancient. They're going to be what is that?
Like me and you know, drain the float when we're taking the carburetor off.
They're not going to know how to do that stuff though. They're going to be like, what is that? Like I'm used to fuel injection.
Right
there you go.
Right. It's like, oh, you where do I plug my laptop in to work on this? Is what they're going to say, and me and you are going to be like, no.
I just Bluetooth my phone up to my motorcycle now.
The new Van Science tuner is all Bluetooth, and they're like, oh, don't you need
insane,
it?
It's
like, no, I'm doing it from my phone right now. It's like it's already here, and I'm sure that the generation before us look at me and you talking about whatever, and it's just like, oh, rear suspension, you don't need that. That's rear shocks, you just need a rigid. Like,
10 years from now, if you listen to this podcast, it's probably going to be a lot different, like how bikes are and everything. It's so insane how technology is taking over on bikes too.
The new electric stuff is insane. Harley's got the new live wire that they've been marketing. We're somewhere between 1 week and 2 months. We'll have our first one, and it's full electric. And I've ridden it. It's a rocket ship. The fastest motorcycle I've ever ridden, Harley Davidson live wire. And I've drag raced my R1, and I've ridden Hayabusas and VMAXs, and you can argue some of the other ones that are like stock motorcycle you can go and buy.
Stock,
like short, like modified ones,
turbocharged.
Yeah, but like some of the guys, just talked to a guy in Louisville, a CB750 with twin turbos and nitrous at 320 horsepower.
Yep.
Like, it's
those CB750s are gnarly.
It's like that's cool, but the new live wire and the new electric stuff that Harley's doing is next level. And like in 10 years, and working on them and battery cell modifications, and that's what the next generation is going to do. Like if we barely know tweaking the carburetors and tweaking the fuel injection, then the next one is overclocking electric batteries and electric motors to simulate 300 rear wheel horsepower instead of 100. Like,
It's just a matter of time before motorcycles also start coming out with electric bikes. Mm-hmm. The torque on those is insane.
have you ridden an electric motorcycle?
No, I haven't. I think I've only seen one, and I think Harley Davidson did make one.
We're making there's one in production. Like
Yeah.
we'll have one for sale at Black Hills Harley like soon.
Yeah, I heard like it's like a sport bike,
What,
but
they don't have torque curves. The torque is a line, so it's 100% torque,
yeah,
0%
you
throttle.
just hit it and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's a slingshot. That is scary because like electric vehicles, if you've never been in one, just a car,
Yeah.
and they nail it. There's no lag.
No.
It just goes. It's like, oh my God.
And they figure out a software update. Like Tesla just pushed a software update that I got a buddy in Oklahoma that's got one. He's like, my 0 to 60 went from 3.3 to 2.9 with the software uptate. And he's like, and my batteries are 6 months old already. And it's just like, and it's faster than ever.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy how. Yeah, you're
he's
driving
got
an
a
iPad.
4-door sedan with his kid in the back, and he's got 0 to 60 in 2.9. It's just like, that's insane. Like, but it's the future, and it's here, and like Harley Davidson is investing a lot in it, and like I'm proud to be at the dealership. We're the first dealership that has an electric charging station.
Yeah, that's gonna be so cool.
Motorcycle dealership in the Black Hills.
It's not gonna be popular with a lot of the old school riders and stuff, but it's gonna be different. It's gonna be something new. It's gonna be something. I don't know. I like things that are different.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check it out. I love the straight pipes, like how loud it is. Some of my friends, they wear earbuds because they like music, but they refuse to get a bagger. And if you want music, loud music, get a bagger. You can put an awesome system in it.
Yeah.
But then with electric bikes, it's just like, it's going to be completely different than riding anything. It's never been done. You have never ridden one, so we don't even know what to expect until you ride it. It's just like riding anything else. Don't knock it until you try it.
Right. And that's kind of my theme on it all too. Is just like I don't care. Said what you ride. We do test rides on Harleys all the time, and everybody's got kind of in our generation, the younger generation, and the dirt bike is no, they're just old. Like I said, you're thinking they're old shovelheads and the old iron head Sportsters that'll just shake your teeth to death. And it's like, well, actually, the new ones are really smooth, and they make a good amount of power, and and the brakes actually work. Like, it's a miracle. Like,
I'm a fan of the rigid.
Fun. Yeah, and there's a spot for that, just like there's a spot for my '76 XS Yamaha 500. Like, they make multiple stall garages for a reason. I got my Harley, and I've got my FZ and my dirt bikes and my vintage stuff, and it's all good.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for being here, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for the call.
Absolutely.
This is cool. I like this.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I hope to have you guys back, Black Hills Harley Davidson, week before Sturgis.
It's gonna have to be a little bit more before that, but yeah,
You get a little busy.
You get a little bit. There's quite a bit of build up to that. But
Well, if you guys have never been to South Dakota, Sturgis Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, you have to put it on your bucket list to try. It's phenomenal. There's no party like it. Especially if you're into bikes, if you're into riding, this is one of the best places to ride. There's so many things out here to ride. I have family from all over that ride, but they come here and they love it. They're out. They're out in the morning. They come back late at night. They sleep a couple hours. They go back out. They ride because it's the last chance to get it.
Sturgis is the biggest motorcycle rally. I'd argue. And I think it's that and become that because of what we offer here as far as riding goes. And even if it's outside rally and you want to come and the canyons and there's plenty of people, the tourist groups that have road maps that can lead you on different difficulties and ask a buddy, ask a friend, Mount Rushmore and all this stuff. And I like that when I travel and talk with industry people, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going on a big ride. There's like a couple hours out, then they ride a couple hours. It's like I'm 5 minutes and I'm in the canyon. Yeah. And that's what makes the Black Hills amazing.
Come prepared for hail. we get at least once a year.
Yeah, especially during the rally.
Yep. I don't know what it is. We get hail at least once a year or rain. Do book a place to stay. If you plan on staying longer than your stay and it's done, you won't be able to probably find a place.
Right. Everybody sells out early. This year is the 80th, which is a big rally.
Yeah.
It's teed up to be a huge event. Like I said, some of the campgrounds are already selling out. A lot of the hotels are getting close to occupancy. And
Oh yeah, already in Sturgis. I guarantee it.
And in Rapid. Rapid's a nice central hub. Sturgis is a good party place. A lot of good campgrounds. The Buffalo Chip, their tagline is the best party anywhere, and they get some great headliners.
It's crazy.
And I said the names and concerts that come to little old Sturgis, South Dakota, and the Black Hills here are population of 120,000 people. We don't get to see the names that they bring in because of the rally. So
Buffalo Chip has some good shows, and I do want to give a shout out to Iron Horse Saloon.
Yeah,
they have some awesome shows coming up, and I am so stoked. Thank you, Iron Horse.
Yeah, I made my first one there last rally, and I was like, "This is cool." Like,
it is.
I don't
free.
get out. Yeah,
it's free, and it's awesome there, man.
Yeah.
I love it. But if you come, drive safe. Shout out to all you riders.
Yeah,
Love
sure.
you guys.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
All righty. See you, everybody.